Hey everyone, welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading. Today is April the 25th, 2021. Today I'm going to be looking at the markets, S&P 500, our targets to the upside and to the downside. We'll look at where the market started last week and where we were on Friday to end the session. We're also going to be having a busy week with respect to earnings. So this stream is going to be concentrated on earnings. I'm going to be talking about Tesla, AMD, Microsoft, Pinterest, Google, Boeing, Apple, Amazon, Neo, and three other names that a few of our members requested, which includes Coinbase, PLBY, and SKLZ. Okay, so here we are on S&P 500 on the 1-hour chart. Here is basically our week that we had last week. And as you guys can see here, we opened up trading session on Monday just below 4130 resistance. We did push as high as 4190. We topped up over there, pushed right back down, retested our entry point on Monday, which was just below that 4130. Held for support there, healthy pullback, retested 4180. We did receive a pullback here. This large candle came about from fear from the markets when Biden released rumors regarding increased tax percentage for basically for people trading. I think the percentage was 38%, and he was supposed to raise it to 43%. It it spooked the markets, and it pushed right back down. However, we did hold again that support area at that 4130. See, we started off here breaking that area of resistance at 4130, pulled back down again to that area, pushed back up to 4190. Held for support again and held for support even through that big drop here. This was the capital gains tax. Sorry, I lost my word. The capital gains tax, which is what spooked the markets. He was supposed to raise it to 43%. Either way, it held again to that 4130 mark. And now we are creating a double top at all-time highs, barely breaking it. Just on Friday, we did spike through to 4190. So going into next week, I am looking at that magical 4200 psychological resistance. Above that, I have targets of 4210 as my first take profit. My second take profit to the upside is 4220. And I have a third take profit of 4230. As I mentioned earlier, we do have earnings coming up on a lot of big names. So obviously, if these earnings do really well, you could definitely see the market push up to those levels and beyond. However, if we do see terrible earnings on the big players like Tesla and Amzn, Microsoft, you could definitely see a push back down to that 4130 level and below. So I have major support at that 4130. Below that, I have 4110, 4112 as my first take profit target, and 4100 psychological as my second take profit target. To the downside, those are my targets. However, my first confirmation breaks would be 4180, 4170, and a scalp down trade to 4150 if you are an options trader looking for a quick scalp trade. So I would look for these two levels to break first. But major support is that 4130 if you're looking to short below that. These are my two targets here at 4112 and 4100 respectively. All right, guys, make sure you do subscribe to our channel. Also, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you are interested in trading with us, head over to thewealthymentor.net and check out our Discord group. We offer options trading callouts along with entries and exits on our daily watch list name that gets updated every morning. We offer market analysis along with breaking news. We also provide Benzinga Squawk, which basically is a PA system where it spits out information as it comes along. We also offer market analysis and economic forecasts with regards to what's happening during the day. It's really a useful tool. It's a great group, and if you are just learning how to trade, or if you're a seasoned trader, it's definitely beneficial for you. And we have monthly, 6-month, and yearly memberships. So be sure to go to thewealthymentor.net and check that out. All right, guys. So heading into the watch list names, and the first name that I'll be looking at that has earnings is Tesla. TSLA is the ticker. Tesla is into this channel right now from the $750 down to the $700 mark. For earnings, I am looking at that break above 750. Above 750, I am looking at first take profits of 765, 770 area. Above that, my second take profit would be that 780 area. However, if you are an options trader, or if you're a scalp trader, tomorrow upon entry, I am looking at a break above 730. Above 730, my first take profit would be 740, and 750 would my second take profit. However, a safer entry for Tesla would be around that 750 mark to potentially go up and hit that 765, 780, and 790 area. Also, make sure you understand that earnings on Tesla are very volatile, and Tesla has had pretty strong earnings in the past that has been able to break all these levels. So you could definitely see us pushing at 800, 815 if we have solid earnings. Now, to the downside, if we don't do really well, and opening tomorrow, I'm looking at 720. Below 720, 710, and 700 are my take profit targets as a scalp trade. To the downside, if you are looking for shorting opportunities, look for 700 to break, right, as your first confirmation. 695, 690 would be your second confirmation. 681 would be your take profit area, and 665 would be your second take profit area. And definitely these areas will get hit if we do disappoint on earnings. We could go as low as 665, which we did have some support here. If we really do bad on earnings, we could definitely see 600 reach again, which we did have a bottom down here on March the 30th. So these levels are very important that I'm going to be looking at. First one would be the $700 area. The second one would be the 665 area, and the third one would be the $600 area to the downside if we do disappoint on earnings. So Tesla, another name to be looking at heading into next week. Another name that is reporting earnings is AMD. AMD has been stuck in this channel. It's difficult to trade, and I don't recommend trading this name very often. Very small, tight ranges. But next week, I'm going to be looking at that 84.50 mark. We did have a high here, 84.50 back on April the 15th, pushing back as low as 78, which is pretty strong support a few times here on the 20th of April, 22nd, 15th, 13th, and the breakout area here above the $78 area on March the 31st. So heading into next week, I am looking at that 84.50. Below, I'm looking at that $78 mark. If 78 were to break, my first take profit target is that $76 area, which we did have some consolidation and a breakout back on the 30th of March. So below 78, I am looking at 76 as my first take profit. If 76 were to break, I am looking at that $75 to $74 area as my second take profit. To the upside, as I mentioned, 84.50 is an area that I want to see break. So no dice for me on entries on AMD unless I see 84.50 break. 85.77, 85.50, I would say, is my first take profit target. If 84.50 were to break, my second take profit is that $87 mark. And we do have 88.50 as the third take profit target on AMD. Okay, we are on the 1 hour chart here. I am going to switch over to the daily chart. And as you guys can see here, the that 83.50 to 84.50 mark is that level that I want to see, entries above. And if we do get above that, like I mentioned, the targets to the upside are 87, 88, 90. To the downside, you guys know below 78, as I mentioned, as low as 74, and that's very possible, especially on an earnings bomb on AMD. Okay. Next name I'm going to be looking at that's reporting earnings is Microsoft, MSFT. Here we are on Microsoft. As you guys can see here, we are pushing at all-time highs. So I am going to draw some targets with you guys right now. So we do have all-time highs currently at 262. So I'm going to draw that as a level of resistance. So above 262, I am looking at 265 as my first take profit area. 270 would be my second take profit area. Stocks do like to move into round numbers, so 270 is definitely in play if we do see an earnings pass on Microsoft. To the downside, I am looking at that 255 area to break. Below 255, 250 would be my first take profit. 245 would be my second take profit, which was also a nice resistance here, which is now support if we were to drop. And my third take profit area, again, which was resistance and now support, 240 would be my third take profit area. And that's on Microsoft on the daily time frame. Okay. Switching over here to the 4-hour time frame. All time frames are the same basically. So going into tomorrow, look over that 262 area for a breakout to all-time highs. And your first take profit would be 265, second 270. Okay. Bullish on Microsoft going into next week. Next name I want to look at is Pinterest, PINS. Another name that did receive a pullback last week. Here we are on the 4-hour chart. Going into next week, I am looking at that $76 mark to break. Above 76, I am looking at 80 as my first take profit target and 82 as my second take profit target. 82 does have strong resistance here as we did consolidate above that level. So keep that in mind. And guys, please take profits. You could always re-enter on the break of these. And understand that before you're entering these areas, even though they do break sometimes, make sure you're looking at volume confirmation. As you guys can see here, the sell-off right here was confirmed by strong volume. So if you are shorting, that is something that you should be looking at. The same thing with entering a trade. You want to be looking at increasing volume before you're entering. You don't want to be going on weak volume like this, or like this, or like this. You want to see a big spike in volume. You want to see buyers entering the market. So Pinterest, those are my levels to the downside, so the upside. To the downside, we do have support at that $72.50 mark. Keep in mind, guys, we do have a lot of rug pulls here. So I would not necessarily short at that $72 mark. I would look at the $68.50. If $68.50 would break, I would look at 66 as my first take profit target and 64 to 62 as my second take profit target, which we did have strong support here. As you guys can see, this big long wick represents buyers stepping in and protecting that area. Okay, so that's Pinterest on the 4-hour time frame. Another name that is reporting earnings is Googl. Googl is the ticker. I'm not much of a trader of Googl. However, I will be drawing some support and resistance lines with you guys today. As you guys can see here, we do have 2300, 2306 as all-time highs. Yep, just confirming that on the daily, going back to the 4-hour. So what I'm going to be watching going into next week on Googl is that 2306. That is my first level of resistance to all-time highs. Above 2306, I am looking at 2330. 2330 would be my first area of take profit. 2350 would be my second area of take profit. Let me just fix that up here, guys. I'd like to have that perfect. Right, and that's 2350 roughly. on Googl as my second take profit. To the downside, I will draw some support lines here. And the first one that I'm going to be looking at is that 2240, right? My next one right here will be that 2206, right? Third one right here would be that 2115. This was strong resistance, which is now support if we were to drop. And if you really want to be technical, we could draw a support line at that 2275 area. So this is what I'm going to be looking at heading into next week on Googl. A break above that 2306, which is highly possible, as you can see here, this healthy candle that we closed on Friday's session. So 2306, 2330 first target, 2350 second target. I am going to draw 2375 if we're really bullish, right? And 2400 psychological to the upside. So all those targets to the upside are very possible on a Googl earnings beat. So look for those targets to get hit to the downside. As you can see here, this is what I'm looking at. Okay, so that is Googl on the 4-hour time frame. Guys, members all have access to these charts as part of the Discord trading group. So if you are interested in that type of stuff and you want to go and look back to see what these levels are at, you know, check us out, thewealthymentor.net. Okay, next name, BA Boeing, another name reporting earnings. Here is Boeing. We did close Friday session just above resistance, 237. Going into next week, I definitely like to see 260 break. However, if you are a scalp trader, look for that $244 to break. If above 244, your first take profit is 250. Your second take profit is that 260. Okay. Safer traders, above 260, look for 268 as your first take profit, 275 as your second take profit, and a retest of at the highs of 280 as your third take profit target. To the downside, we do have support here at that 234 mark. That would be my first confirmation to the downside. For my first take profit at 226, I would be very cautious to enter a short trade at 234. Look for market conditions, look for volume, look for catalysts on a downgrade before entering the 234 mark. As you guys can see here, it did hold here for support, and we did have some nice long wicks here, buyers stepping in. So if you want to be a safer trader, honestly, look for that 226 mark to break for shorting opportunities down to the 221 as number one take profit target, and 216 as your second take profit target. Okay, that is Boeing on the 4-hour time frame. I just want to take a look at the 1-day chart. Yeah, I mean, guys, we definitely could hit that $280 if we do see earnings. And here we are on the weekly. Obviously, Boeing was a $400 plus stock, so 280 would put us right here. You know, if we do get past that 280, we do have strong resistance at that $290, $300 mark, which was the breakdown of the COVID. So we do have strong resistance. Keep that in mind. So it's going to take a lot for Boeing to break through this. And you know, Boeing, they've had a lot of problems, and it's one of those stocks that just there's always news surrounding it, and even with analyst upgrades, it just doesn't want to move sometimes. It's very stubborn, and it's one of those stocks personally I've always had success with when you're holding it long term as opposed to day trading it. So just a tip going into next week on earnings. Okay, next name I want to look at is Aapl, which is also reporting next week. AAPL is the ticker symbol, I should say. Okay, Aapl 135, 135.50 with my first entry point. A break above that, I am looking at that $38 to $40 range as my first take profit area. My second take profit area would be that 244 to 246 area, which is all-time highs here. And we did hit that on January the 27th. I do like the chart pattern here. We created a nice low consolidated around that 120 area, and here we are potentially retesting, all-time highs if we do have an earnings beat. However, that $38, $39 to $40 area is key for me. As you guys can see here, we've had multiple rejections, and this is on the 4-hour chart at that 138 area. So going into next week, if you are a safer trader, look for that 138 area just because you don't want any surprises around this. And, sometimes we wick up here and go back down, but a break above the 138 area, to me, it would be safer entry. To the downside, we do have support at that 130.50 area. If we do break that, my first confirmation would be the 130.50. Second confirmation would be 128, 129, right? And I would enter shorts below the 127.50 just because I feel more safer around the 127.50. If we break that, 124 and 123 would be take profit targets. However, I am pretty bullish on Apple. I want to switch over to the 4-hour time, so the 1-day time frame. As you guys can see here, we're still maintaining an uptrend. If you guys go from here, to here, we're still like higher here. We went higher here. We went higher here. This was a healthy pullback. Holding here at that 120 level was really nice. If we were to break that and go down, that uptrend would be broken for me. However, still maintaining that area and still consolidating above and going now at that $135 area, I am bullish on Apple, guys. Especially with their, they reported some new products. I think it was the Apple iPad or something like that. I'm not really too privy on that type of information. I knew they had some announcements. However, during that announcement, S&P 500 was pulling back due to the Biden increase on the tax. So Apple really didn't get the full effect of its news conference. Usually when they have a news release or something, they pop on that information. Unfortunately, Apple does tend to move the SPX. So when the SPX is down, when the markets are down, Apple's going to follow with that. So earnings beat along with that news event could definitely push Apple to all-time highs. So if we do see all-time highs, I am looking at that 150 area to be hit, 155 as my second area above all-time highs. All right. That is Apple. Another name, Amazon, is reporting earnings. I'm not much of a trader on Amazon. However, I will look at the charts right here. And here we are on the daily time frame. I'm going to switch over to the 4-hour. And the 4-hour tells me that I am looking at, as a first confirmation, the 33.66. Above 33.66, I am looking at 3,400 psychological. If 3,400 gets hit, look for 3,500 as your first take profit target. And as your second take profit target, it would be that 35.50 mark, which is pretty much all-time highs. Amazon is tough to trade personally for me. That's why I stay out of it. However, if you are one of those Amazon shareholders and if you're one of those loyal traders on Amazon, look for that $3,400 mark to break before entering any trade, in my personal opinion, sorry, I should say. So 3,400 and 33.66 would be your first confirmation of that break. To the downside, we do have support here at 3,300. Below that, I am looking at shorts to the 32.50 area and 31.80, which was strong resistance back here. And we finally broke out on the 5th of April. So what was resistance back then now turns support. So look for that to get hit if we do see an earnings bomb on Amazon. Okay. That is Amazon on the 4-hour time frame. Another name, NIO, N-I-O. Much like AMD, this thing has been stuck into this small range from $36 to $40. So going into tomorrow, I am looking at that $43 mark to break. Above 43, I'm looking at scalp trades to the 45 area. That would be my first take profit. And my second take profit would be the $47 area. So that's if you're a quick scalp trader, an options trader. If you want a better entry, look over that $47 mark. 49 would be your first take profit, and 51 would be your second take profit. So NEO, that's the upside on an earnings beat. To the downside, I am looking at 38 as my support line. If that were to break, short down to the $36 area, and another short down to the $32 to $34 area, which is a line of support that I'm going to draw right here. That we've held quite well here back on March the 24th. Once more here, nice wick showing that buyers did step in and protect that area back on April the 16th. So 34, 32 support lines on NEO going into next week for earnings. Okay, so those are all the earnings, notable ones that I want to discuss that I'm going to be looking at personally. We do have some requests for some other names from one of their members, and the first one is going to be Coin, which is Coinbase. We don't have much data on this as it is a new IPO. However, it is one of the hottest IPOs on the market, so it's worth a look. I am going to switch over here to the 15-minute time frame. Actually, let's just see what the 30-minute time frame says. Okay, so I'm going to look at the 30-minute time frame. We popped to all-time highs here. A very euphoric event with Bitcoin doing really well, and just the hype around cryptocurrency definitely pushed this thing to 430. It did have an entry target, starting target, I believe it was of 250, and an hour later they were pushing it to 300, then 350, then 400. Then we did open up and push all the way to 430. So that is resistance for me. My second resistance point would be down here at that 410 mark. Okay, a push down. We do have resistance here at 370. My third one. Another resistance point would be at that, let's just say 246.50. That would be another resistance point. Another one I would say would be right here, the 327 mark. Okay. Resistance here, and also nice support here. Another one would be right here, similar fashion, 313. Again, resistance also held here for nice support. Another one would be at that 302 mark. Again, resistance here, held for support here. Buyer stepped in. So look at that 302 mark as an area where buyer stepped in. However, like I said, we did have some market weakness. So, and also Bitcoin did drop below $60,000, and I think it's trending around 50,000 right now. So obviously names like Coin is going to feel the effect of it. So 302. Another one right here would be that a low of 277 right here, and one more right here at that 290 mark. Okay, I would draw a target of 270 and a target of 260, and one more target at 250, which was what the initial IPO price was. Okay, so guys, going into tomorrow on Coin, my first area that I would like to see break is that 302 mark, right? As I draw here, the lines of resistance, 302 would be an area that I want to see break, 302.50. A push up to 313 would be my first take profit area, and my second take profit area would be that 327 mark. Okay, to the downside, like I said, we did close We did see a nice little bounce here from 277 all the way above 290. So 290, my first support zone. If that were to break, 278 would be my take profit target. My second take profit target would be that $277 mark. However, I do have 270 here. So 277 down to 260 would my second take profit area. However, overall, if I switch over here to the 1 hour time frame, let's just say to the 4 hour time frame, guys, we are in a downtrend. It's not much data here, so I can't really speculate too much. However, like I said, 250 was the entry area for coin. But based on the euphoric events, it did go as high as 450, 430. So going to tomorrow, look over the 302 to the upside, to the downside, look under 290. Okay, so that's coin on the 4 hour time frame. Another name that I was requested to look at is PLBY, PLBY. PLBY is actually pretty bullish. We do have all-time highs here. Let's draw $50 as an all-time high. So going into next week, if you guessed 50, that would be your first area to break. Usually, guys, when stocks go to round numbers like 50 or 100, most of the time, a lot of the time, I should say, they will break that area. So it's always good to gear up prior to those round numbers to break, because people do like to see those round numbers break. So a good entry would be just before that $50 mark. However, I would also like to see volume confirmation. I would like to see like market conditions. I'm not going to say, hey, you should just enter before 50, but look for those things to confirm your entries. So above $50, I am looking at 52.50 as my first take profit, 55, right? And 60 as my third take profit area on PLBY. To the downside, we do have support here at that $45 mark here. Couldn't break it. Wick here, another wick here. Good support. Next support would be here. Right, we did push down here, held that. Another support area would be right here at that $33 mark. Another support area I would like to draw here. So these are some areas that I'm going to be looking at on PLBY heading into next week. So $50, 52, take profit 1, take profit 255. If we're really bullish, take profit number 3 at 60. To the downside, 45 were to break. Looking at 41 as scalp trades. To the downside, target number 141. If that were to break, target number 2 would be that $33.50 area. Okay, so that is PLBY on the 4 hour time frame. And you know what? The chart looks bullish. So keep an eye on this one going into next week. One last name I'm going to be looking at that was also requested was SKLZ, skills. You know, when I look at a chart like this, I look at a making of a bubble. 46 pushed really high up, and now we're trending back down exactly where we broke out from. So as the rule is, whatever goes up this fast comes down this fast as well, and it's a classic bubble formation. Personally, I don't like to enter or look at charts like this. They don't have much significance for me. However, it was requested, and I'm going to be looking at it right now. So 46.5 is your all-time high. $40 is your next one here. Third one here is 36.50. 33. 30. 25. These are all resistance points. Next one would be 20.5, 12.50, 16 support. Okay, so those are some areas that I'm going to be looking at heading into next week. To the upside, obviously you want to see 20.5 break. If 20.5 were to break, 25 would be my first take profit area, and my second take profit area would be that $30 mark. Keep in mind, guys, this is a stock that I would rather swing trade just due to the larger targets and just due to the longer time frame that will take for something like this to prop back up to where it was. To the downside, I have $16 as my first support line. If that were to break, 12.50 would be an area that I would like to see retested as my first take profit target. I am going to switch over here to the daily time frame. Okay, on the daily time frame, I'll give you guys an area of another support line, which would be that $11 mark. So my second take profit, if 12.50 were to break, would be $11. Okay, so that is skills on the daily and the 4-hour time frame, and I do not recommend investing in this stock. However, it can make for some great swing trades. So keep an eye on this as well. And this is skills on the 4-hour time frame. All right, guys, those are all the names that I want to discuss. Busy week next week with earnings. Personally, as a trader, I've been trading for a very long time, and my suggestion is be very cautious on earnings. No matter how bullish a chart might look sometimes, or no matter how good a name might look like Tesla or Apple and whatnot, earnings are very hard to, you can't judge the outcome easily. And sometimes you might have great earnings and it beats Wall Street's expectations, but the stock might still drop. So it's one of those things that I like to see earnings go through, see where the chips fall, and then enter the trade on the next day, or judge the chart when I get more data on it. That's my personal preference. If you are one of those people that do like to play earnings, guys, please scale down your positions. If you're an options trader, even if you're buying calls or buying puts, it does, stocks like this or any stock on earnings do tend to whipsaw up and down, which do kill your premium. So, whether you're bullish or bearish, sometimes you still might get killed on your premium due to the volatility of the stock after hours when they report. So keep that in mind, guys. Preserve your capital, be smart with your money. If you're buying out the money calls, weigh your risk reward ratio. So just wanted to point that out there. Good luck with your trading. Make sure you watch this video over again if you're not 100% sure on these levels. Write them down and prepare for the next day when you're trading. Again, check out thewealthymentor.net if you're interested in our trading group, and also look at our Instagram page, Wealthy Mentor Trading. Wonderful information. We post content on the daily with our snaps and our posts. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for looking over the charts with me, and I'll see you next week. All right. Bye.